It's a good thing. I want you to be alive and well. I really want you to be really alive. You know what I mean? Like really alive? Yeah. If there's anyone here for the first time today, well, glad that you came to be with us. I'm praying that you'll be able to worship the Lord with us today. There will be a brief Vacation Bible School workers meeting in the family room after the worship gathering today. People want me to remind all of you of that, and that we still need Vacation Bible School helpers, workers. So you have volunteered, we need you. We'd rather have far more than enough than not have enough. Would you agree with that? So just come on and help. Just be here. You don't necessarily have to be a crew leader or a teacher or leader in any other area. Just be here and help. Just sometimes you just do crowd control or just hang out. Or be here July 13th, 17th, Vacation Bible School, sign up, let them know. We're going through Ecclesiastes. Today is the fourth message in the series on Ecclesiastes. Today we're in chapter 4, verses 8 through 12, and we're talking about this. Don't do life alone. Don't do life alone. I want to say to you today, whatever you do, don't do life alone. Confession is good for the soul, right? So here goes. I would like to be alone. How many of you probably know that? I was really agreeing here. I would like to be alone. I'm an extrovert, right? That's what some of you are saying. You're an extrovert. Big deal. We know you don't really like to be alone. Well, that's not exactly what I'm talking about. Confession is good for the soul. I hate it when Glenda is gone overnight. I hate it. I hate to be in my house by myself overnight. I absolutely can't stand it. So whenever she's gone overnight or for a number of days, I can't stand that. Now listen, it's very seldom a number of days because we've been apart very little in the last bunch of years, okay? Long time. Our anniversary was on Friday. I mean, we're apart very, very little. But I hate it when she's not home at night. It drives me insane, okay? Drives me in... Who put that up there? That's one of the best looking couples I've ever seen in my life, right there. I mean, tell you. Especially that chick, man. She's a good looking chick, don't you think? Yeah. Well, anyway. So it's been a few years. We've been together. It's high school. I hate being alone. I hate it when she's not home. I can make myself go to bed. Any of you guys, I know, because I'm probably the only one. Any of you guys like that? You don't like your wife to be gone? Anybody else? Whew, we got 2. We got 3. We got 4. All right, we're willing to admit. Any of you other guys, how many of you like it when she's gone? Now, go ahead and be honest about it. Two are honest about it. The one's wife was not looking. Okay? So, it doesn't feel right to me, man. I can make myself go to bed. I mean, the house feels empty, the bed feels empty. It's like there's nobody over there. I mean, it literally drives me crazy. I can't stand it. And beyond that, I have these long conversations with myself. Any of you ever do that? I talk to myself, I answer myself, I ask questions of myself. But you know the good thing about that? They are intelligent conversations. That's the great thing about it. If I ever want to have an intelligent conversation, you know, I just talk to myself, you know. Now don't get me wrong. I need my alone time. I need my quiet time. Do you? I need those times when I can go down and get just in our family room downstairs or in my little office and just have alone time. But I don't like to be alone at night without my wife. That's just confession. Don't judge me, okay? Don't say you're a wimp, whatever the case may be. I'm just telling you, when that's the way it is, I absolutely go nuts. I do. Some of you are thinking you didn't have far to go, and you would be right about that, but I go nuts. Here's the truth. So just being honest, here's the truth. God made us for community. We're not meant to do life alone. He made us for community. We're not meant to do life alone. Now understand something. Those of you who may be here who are single today, I'm not talking about marriage at all. That's not what I'm talking about. This could be a part of it, but that's not what I mean. God made us for community. Never intended for us to do life alone. that prompted Solomon to write these words in Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verses 8 through 12. He said, there was a man all alone. In the Hebrew literally says without companion. There was one, not another. In other words, this man was all alone. He had neither son nor brother. I mean, this guy is totally doing life alone. No family, no one else. He's doing his own thing. There was no end to his toil. In other words, he's a total workaholic. He has no one else to walk with him. He's putting his entire life into work, and yet his eyes were not content with his wealth. In other words, he wants more and more and more. It's all about him. He's not doing anything for anyone else or allowing anyone else to do anything for him. For whom am I toiling? He asks, or better in the Hebrew it is, he never asks. He never asks, for whom am I toiling? For whom am I working? He just keeps on going and doing what he's doing day after day after day without ever thinking about it and just living his life as he's living it. And why am I depriving myself of enjoyment? Why am I doing that? He never asked that. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy, but he's going on and on with his life. Solomon says this too is meaningless. Here we go again. Meaningless, meaningless. Everything is meaningless. It is a miserable business, he said. Choosing to do life alone is a miserable, miserable thing. It can make you a miserable person if you decide to do that. So here's what Solomon said in answer to that. Two are better than one. Always, we're better together with others than we are alone. We need others. So we're better. Two are better than one because they have a good return for their labor. In other words, two can get a lot more done than one. We always can. If you're working, whatever you're doing, two are better than one. If either of them falls down, there's one of us who doesn't fall down. At some point in our lives, we all do. One can help the other up, and we all need help getting back up sometimes. You need it, I need it, we all need it. But pity anyone who falls, he says, and has no one to help him up. To just lie where we are with no help in the situation, in the state that we are in, and no one to reach down and pick us up and lift us up. And if two lie down together, they will keep warm. That's part of why I hate for Linda to be gone. I like for her to be there, you know what I mean? But how can one keep warm alone? I suppose it can be done, but it's a lot harder. The one may be overpowered by another person, by Satan and his demons. Though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. Guys, you may try to be macho and say, I don't need anybody to defend me. I can handle it on my own. But let me tell you, this is a proven fact. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. That's 2 other people alongside you. 2 other people surrounding you. It can be another person in the Lord. But you need that 3-stranded cord, at least, if not more, that is holding things together for you. I mean, here's the fact. What's the point of all of this? We need other people in our lives. We do. You do, and I do. We all need other people in our lives. So the challenge from Solomon and for me this morning is this. Don't live life by yourself and for yourself. Don't live life by yourself and for yourself. The temptation is going to be there to do that. Don't do it. The temptation is going to be to say, I've got this, I can handle this. Don't do it. There was a man or woman all alone. Had neither son nor brother. There was no end to his or her toil, yet his or her eyes were not content with their wealth. Never asked, for whom am I toiling, and why am I depriving myself of enjoyment? Why am I living life alone? Some of you may be asking that question this morning. Some of you are here needing to hear this. Why am I living life alone? Now listen to me. You could be all alone with no companion, no son, no brother, but you still don't have to do life alone. You do not have to. You may think you have to, but you don't. You may be here a couple this morning. As a couple, you don't have to do life alone. You can have other people surrounding you. You need people, and people need you. That's a fact. That's a fact. You can be a workaholic, but work will never substitute for people, and some of you are workaholics. You can obtain stuff, but stuff will never replace people in your life. You need people. All of us need people, and people need us. So to do life alone is not only detrimental to you, it is selfish because you aren't doing anything for any other people. Don't do life alone. How many of you have friends that you like to hang out with? Let me see your hand. You have friends, okay? You like to hang out with those friends. Brian and Elizabeth, I saw you hanging out last night, right? With friends who are hanging out with you today. It's friends, right? You might say, that is my best friend. We love hanging out together. I can see it. I didn't have to look and say, wow, they like being together. No, they like being together. I saw our ladies' picture on Facebook yesterday, some of them who went up to Richmond, ate a Red Lobster, did some shopping, of course, and went to see a movie. They saw Max, right? And had a great time together. You can see it on their faces. Like, wow, we're together. We're having a great time. Anybody in here doesn't have at least one friend? We have friends, and we love to hang out with our friends. Let me ask you something. Do you ever need your friends? How many of you ever need your friends? Maybe it's a long-distance friend. You need to call them, or you need to Facebook, or you need to text them, because you need them. How many of you, there are times your friend needs you? Let me see your hand. Times? Sometimes when your friend needs to just say, man, I need your help right now. How many of you remember your high school friends? Raise your hand. You remember those high school friends when you hung out together, you had a great time, and you remember them even now? How many times did you need your friends in high school? Raise your hand. You need them? How many times did they need you? Several times, right? Isn't it fun to be high school friends hanging out together? You remember that? Some of us have to think way back, but you remember that. I remember a specific group of friends in high school. When I was in school, we were in the Key Club together. The Key Club exists no more. It is an old thing. I don't even know what it's called now. It probably exists. These were the young leaders of tomorrow. If you were in the Key Club, you're one of the young leaders of tomorrow. I was a sophomore in high school. I'm going to tell this story because we were friends, we were together, and we had some good times when we were together. All right? So forgive the story in advance. How many of you remember April the 3rd, 1974, who lived in Pulaski County or anywhere on up through Ohio and maybe even beyond? What happened on April 3rd, 1974?
Tornado.
One of the worst tornado outbreaks in history. I'll never forget that night, growing up here. I'll never forget, we're up all night long. You're listening to the radio. Tornadoes are everywhere. People are dying all over the county. The tornadoes keep moving. In fact, they literally wiped out Xenia, Ohio. It was an absolutely awful, terrible, frightening night. The next day, we had no school, but they called us together, the Key Club. And they're like, they want you guys to come out to Piney Grove subdivision, which was literally destroyed. And we want you to help with cleanup. So we immediately went to the school, and they put us on a vehicle, and they took us out to the subdivision. First of all, I'll never forget what I saw. Never. It was absolutely terrible. But we start to unload, and they immediately say, we're actually in a couple of vehicles with some of our guys driving. And immediately they say, get out of here. You guys can't be here. We don't want you here. We came to help. You're not allowed here. Leave. So we left. And one of our guys said, guys, before we drive back to school, drop everybody off. We need to stop at my family farm. We don't live there, but we own this farm. We need to stop and feed our cattle. And we said, okay, that's cool, man. Let's stop and feed the cattle. So we stop and feed the cattle. And we're a bunch of friends who love each other with all our hearts. What do friends do? Friends have fun, right? So we're out there together, we fed the cattle, and then suddenly it erupts into a cow patty fight. Now, how many of you know what a cow patty is? Raise your hand. All right. That is the residue left behind by the cattle after that's as easily as I can explain it, after they have eaten and they go to the bathroom. Anyway, that's a cow patty. So it erupts into a cow patty fight. Did any of you ever throw dry cow patties at each other? You ever do that? Oh, come on. I was raised on a farm. Some of you are like, you are gross and nasty. Sit down and shut up. Okay. Well, if you think that's gross and nasty, this dry cow patty fight then erupted into a wet cow patty fight. Now, this is not good, but it did. I personally have never been part of a wet cow patty fight. Personally, I don't ever want to be again. But it erupts into this, and these things, they're not really flying. People are getting them in their hand, and it's just awful. And one of the things I remember about that, there was this one boy who was absolutely a genius. Great guy, very quiet. He was avoiding the fight. He was staying off to the side to keep from being harmed in any way. Suddenly he notices no one is there. So he comes walking through the big barn entrance in the back. Not a good grabbed him in his hand. What does he do? That's exactly right. Right there. I know. It was really royalty. And I was there watching this. I did not do it. Okay? I did not do it. Only because the other guy didn't do it. But I did not do it. So anyway, but one thing I will never forget about that is seeing this boy. I mean, he was just absolutely distraught, and I don't blame him one bit. And he goes running down to the farm pond where the cattle had all been in the pond, and they stirred it up, and it's muddy everywhere. And he plunges his face right into the water. And he begins to just wash it off. And he's washing off his glasses. That's friends. That's what friends do, right? Friends, man. Friends. Friends do things like that with and for each other. And you never forget. You never forget those things. How many of you have friends like that? See, I'm not the only one. Excellent. How many of you have friends who got wild and crazy sometimes? And not really good counseling. How many of you remember college friends? Remember any college friends, school friends, adult friends? Any of you have adult friends? Were there times when you needed them? Were there ever times when they needed you? Absolutely. That's what doing life together is all about. See, here's the deal. We all need people who bless our lives. And we need to bless the lives of others. And if we're not doing that, then we are missing the boat. If you don't have someone who's blessing you, and you're blessing them, you're missing the boat. Anybody recognize that? From 1965, 2 weeks ago, to 1970 last year, to 1972.
There we go. Good morning. Everybody grab a hand of the shoulder next to you. We're going to get a little groovy this morning.
Groovy. That's it.
If you know what singing, I can't remember the first verse.
Oh, come on. Rock.
We all have sorrow, but we are wise. We know that there's always tomorrow.
Come on, sing it out.
Lead on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. It won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on.
Yeah, sing it. Come on, keep the sway going. Keep it going. Keep it going. Here comes the part everybody knows. I want everybody to get their clap ready. We're going to get sway. We're going to get groovy in here.
You just talk on the brother when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just have a problem that you understand. We all need somebody to lean on. Lean on me.
Back to the sway.
When you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. It won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on.
Give yourself a round of applause. I just gave you all exact representation of why I play drums in that moment. It is awful. I cannot sing. I'm not Justin Bieber. I'm not going to try to be. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Picking up at point 2, we're going to learn how to lean on one another today. It's difficult. It's a process in our life that we have to understand. To pick up this part of the passage in the whole companion And the whole point of this passage is companionship. I'm going ahead and say. Not a term we use in society today, right? Companionship. So used to being alone. Who's felt alone in this room before? Be honest. Who's been alone at one point in their life? I know most of you have felt that way. See, we have a society today that screams independence of us. It says that you must be strong. That you must be able to do it all. That you have to live a life that only you can support yourself and that nobody else can. That you are supposed to take care of yourself and nobody else. That you must do everything in your life on your own. That's a heavy load, right? A heavy load. See, we miss this point in the scripture, Ecclesiastes 4:9-10. It says, two people are better off than one. They can help each other succeed. My version is different than IB. It says, if one person falls, the other can reach out and help. But someone who falls alone has no one there. See, we get in this place that we have such a pride issue. That it's so hard for us to say, I need help. All right? See, society today screams toughness, it screams independence, it screams that we have to do it on our own. There's a pride issue that I struggle with, that many of you in here struggle with. But I can't swallow my pride enough to say, hey man, I need help. Hey bro, I'm going through something, I can't do this on my own. I hate to ask people for help. If I can't do it on my own, I have this mentality that it's not ever going to get done. In reality, we miss the entire point when we're talking about that, wanting to lean on people. See, we begin to get to this point when we start making excuses for ourselves. Say, man, I don't want to be looked at as weak. I'm strong. I'm bench pressing up and down. That's cool. You can't go through addiction right now. You say, man, I don't want this guy or that person looking at me as I'm weak. I don't want to be dependent on somebody. Well, helping is different than dependence. Dependence is completely relying on somebody to do everything for you. Helping is just relying on someone for a moment. Talking about the men here, I'm a guy. I'm a man now. I have facial hair and I have and my facade that I give is this excuse that says I'll be less of a man if I ask for help. That's how I feel. I feel like that if I ask my brother to help me and do something, or if I can't build a bookshelf on my own, or if I can't change my oil change, or if I can't change a tire, or if I can't do this on my, I feel like less of a man, I'm proud of myself. I get to this place and I'm like, man, I've just got to do this in the ways on me, and it gets to me, and it gets me down, and I'm buckling underneath it, and I'm just falling. Today, we don't understand what leaning on each other means. We're going to talk about that. Today, leaning on someone is not a sign of weakness. This is the first one we're going to fill out. But it is recognizing that you cannot do it on your own. See, the facade that society gives us of individualism is not a correct moment in our minds to think. See, we get to the individualistic state, and we get to this mentality that it's all me, my little bubble, and this is all God. And I've got to take care of myself. Back up to Genesis 2, God creates Adam in the garden, tending the garden, and he's alone. There's no Eve yet. It's just him. He's just chilling with a bunch of trees and a bunch of wild beasts. Sitting there naked. I'd be freaking out. I would, honestly, y'all watch that show naked and afraid. I don't know how to do it. I couldn't do that on TV. No way. There's no way. But the reality of that point is that we were never created to be alone. From the beginning of the entire creation that we see, God never intended for us to be alone. He always intended there to be a helper, someone to share the load. And that's what Eve comes in. Obviously, she ate the fruit. It's her fault. We all sinned. And the world fell apart. It's all her fault. I know. But we don't even realize that. We get in that mindset that we're so deep in it. It's just us. It's just me. It's just mine. I've got to do it. But we don't rely on people for help because we don't have to. See, that was me. I left school last August with my first semester being away from home. I sick from school. Got to school, first semester going around. I meet all the girls, I meet all the friends, and hanging out, just enjoying my life. All of a sudden, here comes 4 or 5 exams a week, here comes 4 or 5 different papers a week, and I'm just, oh crap, I can't do this. I forgot how to type. I forgot how to write. I didn't even know how to read sometimes. It was just awful. I had to swallow my pride for a moment whenever I got so overwhelmed by all this and that. Oh, my mom. Mommy, I'm a mom's boy. I get it. I am. I love my mom. I caught her and I was just so upset. I was just so in this moment of, I can't do this. I'm weak. I need help. It's overwhelming me. I felt like less than a man. My pride was hurt so bad for me to have to swallow that and ask her for help. I'll never forget what she said after an hour and a half of me was telling her I can't do this and I'm coming home and this and this and this and this. She said, look, son, that's why I'm here. I'm here to help. I'm your mom. I gave birth to you. That's my whole point of being in your life, is to help you, is to encourage you, is to strengthen you, and support you whenever you're going through this. And as I sat there listening to his words, I was just so captivated with the fact that my mom's not fussing at me for what I'm home. She's like, look, you can do this. I'm here. We'll take care of it. If you need help with math, some numbers, I'll do it. So thank you. Do my work for me. I have to do it myself. Come on. And I got to this place that I was in that place. That I had to do it on my own. I was on my own in school. I was away. I lived with my friends in my dorm room. And, we were just doing life. I was being a man. And then it hit me like a ton of bricks in the butt. See, switching gears a little bit, going from the strength aspect of marriage to a more realistic aspect. Reason number 2, I'm learning to lean on someone else is good, is because it keeps you accountable, but it also keeps others accountable. See, we don't know what accountability is in today's society. Everybody says it's okay, just keep doing what you're doing, have fun, do whatever you want, live however you want, it's all fine and dandy. There's nobody going to do something straight. That was my problem. I was in 6th grade, and I've been through all kinds of stuff, and I was just in this rut of life when I was young, when I was in a depressed state. I lost my grandpa in 2002, kind of helped raise me, and ever since then I went right. All of a sudden, the magical world of pornography opened up. In 6th grade, I began to watch porn, and I began to escape, as I thought, into this unrealistic world of my own reality, my own twisted mentality of this is real and it's not. I got to this place and I was so deep into it that I didn't know who I was. I couldn't even look at a woman without having a thought. It was awful. I wasn't in church. I didn't go anywhere. I was just living my life on my own. I fell. I became suicidal. I became depressed. And it just got to my place where I was just in this black. It was just me. It was all me. Nobody was there. Nobody cared. I had a computer screen to look at 5 times a day. They cared, but in reality they didn't. My sophomore in high school, my mom decided to come to celebrate recovery, and I seen this change in her, and I was like, I've got to have this. And she was so happy. If you don't know my mom, she used to be a straight up demon. I'm sorry, I love her mom, but she was bad out of nowhere. Just angry all the time, just upset. She struggled with all kinds of alcohol problems and just depression, and I seen all of a sudden this change happen. I said, Mom, what happened? She said, well, I met this man named Jesus. I said, oh, that's cool. I've heard of him. Okay. But then I started talking to her, and get to know her, and get to see where she had been and where she came from, because my mom lived with her. I seen the change, I seen the difference. And I said, what's going on? And she told me, and we talked about 3 hours one night, and I ended up going on and giving my heart to Christ. Awesome. But that doesn't mean my addiction went away like that. See, I had nobody to keep me accountable. I was on my own. I was dealing with this porn addiction by myself. My mom didn't know. Nobody in my family. It was just me. A couple of my friends trade pictures and going like this. And I got into this whole life that was just not what I wanted to be. I remember walking through these doors on Sunday morning, the Sunday after I gave my life to Christ. I came up front, and the pastor on staff, his name was Joey Simmons, up here. I'll never forget it. I walked up after David and said, can you correct me up? I did. I bolted to the front. I said, man, I've got to get rid of this. I've got to get rid of this addiction. I feel like I don't even know who I am. He said, bro, I'll pray with you. I'll help keep you accountable. If you need me, call me. If you have a problem, let me know. And I did. He kept me accountable. He got me back on the straight and narrow. He got me back on the path I needed to be. But then I started feeling alone again because I thought I could do it on my own. See, even though we can keep each other accountable and it helps keep others accountable while we each together, you still going to struggle. There's still an individualistic mindset you're going to get into that says, okay, I've got it under control now. I can just venture out this way, venture out that way. And the accountability stops because you go on with your thing and they're sitting there as well. My best friend that I lived with at school, he's my accountability partner. The dude keeps me straight to temple like this and slap me across the head. He'll tell me how it is. And dude, what's going on? How are you? I'm here for the need. See, in church, we have to have this sense of accountability because that's what we're called to. In order to be accountable, we have to know how to be accountable. In order to know how to be accountable, we have to be being accountable to somebody else. You know, it's a whole big weave in and out. But accountability is what we thrive on. It's what our relationships are built out of. It's what our family is made of. And in order to learn to lean on somebody, you have to learn how to be accountable. To swallow that pride. To swallow my pride is a big pill. It's a huge, big pill. I decided to do it. I got a family around me. I got a surrounding of brothers and sisters who came around me and said, look, you're bigger than this. This is not what you are. I can stand here today right now. I've been going free for almost 6 months. I still struggle with it. I still struggle with thoughts. Sometimes it's worse. But that's why accountability is so key, and that's why learning to lean on one another is the huge point. And slide was writing the last point is that it develops relationships and creates a family. See, I was in this place that I was so alone. I had a family. I had lost a family. My family was there for me. We supported each other, loving and caring, and always doing something. Then once I started struggling with my addiction, I got on my own. I got lost. I got whirlwinded. And I lost all sense of my family. I lost all sense of myself. And as I began to come to church and began to get to know people and began to encounter other people that are struggling with the same thing I am, all of a sudden we began to develop a family. We had this family atmosphere come into this place, and I was involved in a small group. We had about 10 to 15 people every Sunday night. We'd get together and hang out and eat, they said. We would go skate, we would go to the creek, we would go have bonfires. It was just awesome. I had people to live life with. It was such a growing time in my life because I came in as a young boy who was a porn addict to growing up to a young man and then into a man. I'm over 21 on legal, so that means I'm a man. I promise. And it was such a wonderful atmosphere because that's what it created. I walked into these doors and I found a family. I found people who truly care about me. I found out what it means to be loved in the midst of my addiction and loved just for who I am. Because my family, they love me anyway. They love me. It's just how it goes. But to love me in the midst of the depth of my sins and what I was, they were so accepting of me. They said, dude, I know you're going through this and I struggle with it. But I'm here for you, man. Just call on your brother who needs a hand. Because we all need somebody to lean on. Ecclesiastes 4:10 says, for if it falls, the one will lift up his companion. But woe to the one who falls, and there is not another to lift him up. See, that's the whole point of what I'm talking about today, is that we have to have people that will. In order for you to get through life, you can't do it on your own. I'm sorry. I don't care how strong you are, how big and bad you think you are. I thought I was King Kong, man. I walked around with my chest puffed out, my fat balls hanging, and I thought I was King Kong, man. I was like, whoa, let's go. I fought all the time. I was just an angry kid. In 2007, my uncle set me down on his deathbed when he was dying of cancer. It was like a dad to me. He set me down and said, look, your mom's not going to be able to handle this. Grandma, she won't. Your cousin, he ain't going to be able to. You're the strongest woman I know in my family. You've got to carry the burden. As an 8th grader in East Middle School, I went through the death of my uncle. He was like a dad who raised me, who was there for me, who was always just, literally, he was just always there when I needed him and I called him. And here I am, an 8th grader, carrying this burden of my family on my back. I couldn't do it alone. But I got addicted to the point again. I got to this place that was just so dark. But then I came in here and I had a family. My small group, this was before I came to church, I shared my testimony with them, and they just surrounded me and loved me. I said, I know it's tough, I know it's still tough for me to this day. But look, he's in a better place, he's not hurt, he's not sad. Gosh, I didn't understand that at the moment. I was so angry. Now here I am, I stand before you today and call ministry. God is doing so much in my life, it's all glory to Him, but I still struggle. And I still struggle with the fact that I have a family here that I don't always rely on. One more story I'm done. See, me and one of my friends, we go downtown and evangelize, usually late at night. We get into town, it's just what we love to do. I love telling people about Jesus. I love talking to people, hearing stories. We're walking through downtown, There you hill. A man gets out of the van and starts walking, and we're like, let's go see what he's doing. We walk up the hill beside Derek and hoping he would cross over the spray and God would us to say something or do something, bring it to us, and all of a sudden we just cross paths. And he stopped me and he said, hey man, you got any paper? No, I did something. I don't know drugs, I don't know bit. He said, oh, thanks. So, and he walked on his way, and I noticed he had a can of air dust. Some of y'all know air dust has said that if you inhale it, you would geek out for like 5 to 0 geek out and space out. And I noticed some stuff as he was walking, so I'm like, hey, boy, let's go walk this time. Let's go make sure nothing happens. So we did. An hour and a half later, we went up and shared the gospel. Sat there, he's talking, he's telling us his story, what he's been, what he's going, what he's doing, why he's on drugs. And this whole thing, just his family was falling apart. He was completely alone. Had nobody there. Had a kid on the way out. Him already, his wife couldn't see his kids because he got kicked out of their house because he was on drugs. It was just an awful situation. We got to talk to him, and as we were talking to him, he kept hitting, and all of a sudden he was passed out. He just laid down on the road, and he was just, I freaked out for a second, and I just came to my senses, and I started shaking him on fire. I kicked him a couple times, and it was rough, but I had to wake him up. He came back to him, he came up, and as he sat up, took a huge gasp of breath, and we sat there and we talked for another minute or two before he passed out again. And this time he passed out because he completely stopped. So I'm like, Corey, go call the cops, go call the EMT, go. And I was sitting there smack as hard as I could, trying to get him to come back to. It was funny because I was like, let it go. I was freaking out. And then he came to and he set up, and I threw the can out, and sat there and talked to him for a while. Got to hear a story. The cops came, took him to the hospital. He was on the fifth floor for 3 days. I kept up with him on Facebook, and we kept praying for him, we kept trying to just intercede on his behalf with God. I went back to school and I got a phone call on Tuesday night. I was laying in my room and Mom called and said, hey, do you believe that God and you all talked to him Saturday? I said, yeah, Samson, right? Yeah. What's going on? You're not going to sit down. I'm laying down, I'm in bed. He said, seen on Facebook, and I actually messaged the lady who's his wife. He was taking a bath and he was taking air dust and he was OD and sitting in the water. It just crushed me. It just destroyed me because I was just talking to this God said that. And I think sometimes that God had me encounter him for a reason. God had me meet him for some specific reason. I don't know. We got to share hope and love and pray with him. All kinds of stuff, but he didn't care. He was too focused on doing what was on because that's what he was so used to. See, there's people all around us in this place right now who feels alone. I feel alone sometimes. I'm not married, I don't have a wife, I have a body pillow. A lot of pillows are awesome things. You ought to catch them with my wife. But there's people in this place right now that feel alone. I feel alone sometimes. I get to this place in my mind and I'm just so mentally alone and I just don't even care. I'm just like, man, there's nobody who loves me, there's nobody who cares about me, the reality is there's a family, and there's people sitting beside me right now that say, look man, if you're alone, if you're struggling, if you're going through this, and any of this, I'm here for you. It's a beautiful thing because the atmosphere of the family creates unity, and unity creates the body of Christ. As Paul talks about in 1 Corinthians 12, he says, you know, an eye and a foot, an ear and mouth, and all kinds of crazy nonsense that I don't even understand sometimes. But the end of that is what you catch is that we're all part of the body of Christ. And his last statement is he says, we are one. See, in order for us to be a family, we have to be unified. In order for us to be unified, we have to be accountable. For us to be accountable, we have to learn to lean on other people. It's difficult, I know it's so hard for me to do that sometimes, but that's what we're talking about today, is that just like the Kentucky State Law says, united we stand and divided we fall. See, we don't understand that mentality because we're so used to being alone, we're so used to living on our own. Single parents, single kids, wherever you are, I don't know where you're at in life. I'll tell you, there's a hope. Jesus is there. We are a family. But the entire point of what I'm trying to make to sum all this up is that we have to learn to lean on each other, not for the benefit of having help, but so that we can enjoy life and learn to walk in strength and gain strength as we go on. So that we can enjoy it, we can bask in it, and not be bogged down by crappiness of the way that our sin and the crap going. But to learn to lean on a brother, to lean on a sister, so we can create a family, so we can become one. We become one as a church, as a family. God begins to unify us. Now we stand divided we fall. I feel like we live like that. So if you're alone today, I don't know where you're at, I don't know what's going on in your life. I want you to know that I'm going to be up front of the hand after David gets done speaking. I'm going to be up here and talk, and I'm going to pray, I'm going to help. Dave will tell you all about that when he comes in just a second. But I really want to convey the point that we are a family, that you're not alone. You don't have to be alone, and don't choose to be alone. Because when you're alone, bad things happen. United we stand, divided we fall.
Well said. In case you didn't know, Tyler's interning with us this summer. We're working him pretty hard. What he had to say is so right. So this final thing that I just want to leave with you today is this. You need to let others lift you up when you're down. Some of you are down right now. I guarantee you some of you are down. You walked in here today, you're down. You're down physically or emotionally or mentally or financially or spiritually. You're down. You need someone to lift you up. Confession is good for the soul, right? Well, I'm far too alone in my spiritual life. I'll be honest with you, I kind of hibernated like that. Any of you ever hibernated? I'm kind of happy. I like my family room downstairs in my house. I like to go home and I like to get down there. I like to get home. And back to the house. Maybe Glenn would that with me. But I'm way too isolated. Man, we used to have great smoke that I was privileged to lead, and it grew into a big group. And I was so blessed. And we met with each other and we ate. And we studied the Bible together and we ate. And we did things together and we ate. We carried the ball on a lot of activities in this church. And did I mention that we ate? Woo! The only good thing is when they first stopped eating, I lost 10 pounds. But anyway. Wonderful experience. To any of you who were in my small group, I want to say this to you this morning. I miss you. And I need you. I need you. I need you in my life. Man, you lifted me up when I was down. You made me laugh. Sometimes we laugh so hard, we almost barfed up what we were just eating. Here's the deal, you made a difference in my life. You made a difference in my life. And my life was so much better because of you. See, every Christian needs other Christians who make a difference in his or her life. Every Christian. If you're sitting here today, you're a follower of Jesus Christ, and you need some other Christians around you, surrounding you, with you. You've got to have it. You're not going to win the battle alone. Just very quickly, verses 10 through 12, one more time, keeping the Christian life in mind. Not just life, but the Christian life. Two are better than one. They can help you in your Christian walk, and you can help them. Because they have a good return for their labor, you can accomplish so much more for God with other people than you can alone. What happens when we do the kingdom work as a team? If one or either of them falls down, you're sometimes you're going to fall hard. I promise you that. But when one can help the other up, they can lift you up, and you can lift them up, and you can be there for one another. And there is nothing in the world like it. But pity the one who falls and has no one to help him up. How will you get up as a follower of Jesus if you fall and you don't have other people to lift you up? And also, if two lie down together, they'll keep warm. Let me tell you what, this world can be cold. How many of you agree with that? The world can be cold and cruel, and you need the warmth of other people surrounding you. But how can one keep warm alone? Man, don't freeze to death as a Christian. It is so easy to grow cold in your life for Christ. It sure helps to have someone to help you get on fire for the Lord again, does it not? To just encourage you and say, man, you can do that. Come on. The one may be overpowered by Satan, by people. People are cruel. People will hurt you. Satan, Jesus says, is the strong man. He will come against you. His goal is to knock you down. And one may be overpowered. He may defeat you. People may defeat you. You may stop. You may fall off the mountain. You may fall back into your addiction. You may give up. You may drop out of church. You may stop reading the Word. You may stop praying because you don't have people. Last Sunday, we saw several of our men who were united together. They had gone to a conference together, and they came back and said, men, we need each other. We've got to stand up and lead this place. The one may be overpowered, maybe two confederates. Two. You need someone else. It's always good to have someone fight beside you as a Christian. A cord of 3 strings is not quickly broken. Listen, it's so good to have a brother or sister or other brothers and sisters in Christ to help you fight the battle. It's good to have one, but it's so much better to have 3. It's so much better to have 4 or 5. It's so good to have people around you. You've been doing life alone. You've been sitting, you've been looking at these things, and you don't have anyone else around you. You're just sitting there. It's like you don't care about anyone else in the world. And you're doing it alone. And every day you're getting your butt kicked. Every day you're getting defeated. Every single day. And you just need someone to come to you and say, brother or sister, come on. Man, I'm here for you. I need you and you need me. So let's come together and let's be the family. Let's be the body of Christ. Let's be there for one another. Let's come together. Now listen, everybody in this place today, as a part of this church, you need someone. You need several someone. We talked the other night. So I'm going to put them on the spot. I'm going to start my small group back, all right? David Preston-Berry, that's somebody getting excited. David Preston, put him on the spot. Brian Elizabeth, I'm putting you on the spot. And some others. They're starting a small group. How about that? They're ready to go. They're going to get to know people. They're going to come to the side of you today. And they are the Christian size guy. And when he grabs you and says, you're coming to our group, you better listen to him, all right? That group's going to be exciting. Garland, what has your group meant to each other? What have you been able to mean to some other people? Because one group that never gave up, never stopped meeting is Garland and Paul's group. And they pulled in some people and they made a difference in their life. And you need this in your life. And I need that in my life. How many of you do not have that right now in our church, in a small group or a ministry team of people with whom you are so connected, you can call them at any time? How many of you do have it right now? Raise your hand. How many of you are vitally connected with some other people? Put your hand up that you know you can call on at any time. Help some of the guys. But some of you don't have that and you need that. And my plea with you today is this. Get that. Get that. Because without that, guess what? You can drop out of this place and we won't know it for 2 months because you didn't have someone you were connected with. You know what? I don't always know everybody. And I may see you and say, you know what? I haven't seen you in a little while. I've been there 2 months. And I may not have realized it. But what if you're connected with a group like that? Oh, no, that's kind of weird and crazy group. But what if you have a group like that? Of weird and crazy people. I'm starting a small group right here. That's not over yet. So, what we're going to do this morning is we're going to come back and sing this tonight again. And what's going to happen right here today is I'm going to have Tyler come down and stand over here, and I'm going to stand over here. And right here today, I want some of you to come up and say, man, I need people in my life. I need help. I need people to say, man, I love you, and I'm here for you. I need people to say, man, you need to straighten up or get your act together. What's the case right there? That person standing up waiting. Do it. Just do it. Now you be mad at me later. Just do it. David Prestonberry right there. Ryan Elizabeth. Stand up waiting, everybody. See, this is a small group, all right? There are going to be others who are going to be a part of that group because they don't come against you today, right? They're standing right over there. So maybe some other young couples or whatever the case may be, you can go over and say, hey, we want to be a part of it. If you want to be a part of the group, I want you to come out, come to me. Please don't just take this lightly. We need each other. Yes. I'm going to pray for you. The band's going to play. You're free to go after this if you want. I mean, you're free to go. But I would love for somebody to come up. Some of you come and say, man, I love to lead a small group, you know? I just like to do that. But you come to me and say that, be like David, well, who's going to lead it? I said, you are. But it comes and I like to lead a group. I love to have a group in my house. I need people. A couple of us to say that. Lord, we worship you today. And we thank you that you are about community. You made us for community. You made us for other people. You made us to be together, to walk this walk together, to survive with each other, to thrive together. That's what you made us for. We can't do it alone. We can't. So Lord, help us in this place today to say, you know what? I'm getting some other people, man. I'm getting some people who are going to surround me. We're going to do this life, this Jesus life. We're going to do it together. If there's anyone here today who doesn't know Jesus, and you're really wrong. If you don't know Jesus, would you just come up here to one of us this morning and say, man, I want to get connected to Jesus, please? Changes everything. Because you get connected to Him, and then to some other people. You get connected to Him, He writes your name in heaven. You know you're going there when you die. You connect with some other people, and you walk this thing called Christian. So Lord, draw us to yourself today. The Word of God to speak to us as we prepare to leave this place. Pray in Jesus' name. Amen. Everybody stand. You can stay and sing if you want. You're free to go. Thank you for being here today. Come up here and say, grab one of us. Say, man, I got to have some people. Okay? Come on, Tyler. Know what a good job he did today. All right? Let's do it.
Yeah.
sacrifice.